Cheer Danshi came out in July last year. Mm-hmm. Man, we're late.
Yeah, we are.
Jesus. But this is like a straggler from seasons ago.
No.
So, yeah. This came out in the summer.
Oh.
This is one of the last ones from the summer season.
Oh boy. Oh, that's right.
What the hell is this about? Honestly, I don't remember any of their names.
Cheer Danshi's about life, really.
It's about going, fighting, and winning.
It's about
obviously
the dreams of young men.
You know what, Kimiko?
In college.
This
And the
is your
courage
cross
to
to
fulfill
bear.
them.
I'm going to let you explain the story.
Okay, so the story centers kind of around Haruki, and he hurt himself doing judo, but
somehow.
Yeah,
and
they don't really explain how. I think he hurt his shoulder.
It's a wound that will never heal, apparently.
Clearly, because he quits judo.
Right.
And in attempting to find himself and wandering aimlessly through life, he stumbles upon, I think it's some sort of soccer game or football game or something that's going on, and there's cheerleaders who are performing, and he's like, oh my God, I want to do this. And his best friend is like, well, lucky for you, my parents did
his
cheer.
mom was a cheerleader and his dad was
a coach.
And they didn't.
Which is only a little risque. Yeah. And they both decide to form a male cheerleading group on their campus, which I will say one thing I appreciate about the show is that it takes place in college and not in high school.
Right.
And you get a distinctly college feel that you wouldn't normally get from like a school anime, which is really nice. But this whole anime is basically about Haruki and his best friend trying to accumulate people to be a part of their cheerleading squad, which is hard at first because nobody thinks that male cheerleaders are a thing. And there's a whole lot of secondhand embarrassment in this entire show. Just them practicing in like the open quad area and being really bad at first. And
go fight to win!
All of the cheers.
Fight to win!
Just all of the cheers awkwardly in around the student body on campus. But ultimately, they managed to gather enough people to do their first, like...
Go fight to win!
Yeah.
I want to call it a performance, but it's not... It's like a... They were trying to get more people interested, so they performed on the quad, sort of thing. So that's like the first couple of episodes, and the base for it is just... male cheerleading squad coming together, meeting some people, making some friends.
So he decided initially that he wanted to make a cheering club because he was rooting for his sister, right?
Yeah. Well, the best friend noticed that he had... It's another one of those innate ability situations for the hero where his best friend was like, when you cheer for people, you make them feel things. You make them feel motivated. You have this way about the way you cheer. And their whole mantra is be the hero by cheering other heroes on, or like be the hero by motivating the other heroes and cheering for them. And so he had this natural innate ability to motivate through the way he cheers somehow, which is only a hit on in like episode 1 and then never again.
Do you know what the word is for cheer somebody on in Japanese?
Gambare?
No.
Gambare would be something that you would say while you're cheering them on.
Oh, okay. What?
But I'm talking about the literal verb for cheering.
What?
Ouen suru.
Ouen.
O-U-N.
Ouen.
Ouen suru.
Suru. Ouen
Good to know,
suru.
Mitsuki. Thanks for sharing.
So you'd be like, chanto ouen shite kure. Like properly cheer for your team.
Oh, cool.
Type of deal.
All right.
Anyway, yeah, so
So that's the basic premise of the story. To me,
the end.
And then they have a couple of months to learn how to cheer, and then
yes, because there's a competition. They've got it. So 2 things need to happen after that point.
Right.
They need to collect at least 15 people, like 12 to 15 people or something, and in order for them to compete. And then once they have those people, they need to actually learn how to be cheerleaders and how to do the tricks and how to do the stunts, which, mind you, the main character is afraid of heights, which causes its own conflict.
Of course.
And then they have to compete and hopefully win. So that's kind of your basic foundation or formula for any sports anime, really, is, you've got to overcome the obstacles, got to gather enough of the people, got to figure out how to...
in the first episode where they're like... I laughed when they said it, when they're like, we have to get 7 people in 2 months so that way we can have our squad. And I'm like, oh my God, are you serious?
And then 7 becomes
the
like, in order
same thing.
to like...
It's literally another one of those anime where they're like, we need another person in our group,
Yeah.
so that way we can. Yeah. It's
But then
oh,
once they get to
geez.
7 people, it's about getting the other 5 to 8 so that they have enough people to compete
Yeah.
on like the regional stage, which I think is the biggest issue that I have with this anime.
There's too many people.
There's too many people.
Right.
By the end of the 6th episode,
Oh my
when they've
God.
started accumulating, like the end of the 6th episode is when they finally managed to. And I don't feel like this is much of a spoiler because there's literally no anime without this.
There's also
Is
no
they managed-
story in this anime.
There kind of is a little bit of a lack of plot, but there's so by the end of the 6th episode, I think is when they finally accumulate all of the people they need to accumulate. They've done their major performance or their first performance, and it's garnered enough interest that they gather people. But by that point, I was just like, I don't want to meet another character. It's one thing, and I know I might sound a little biased because Haikyuu, literally the main group is 12 people, and then you meet other teams that have
That's a lot of
6 to
people.
12 to 15 people. You meet like all of the other schools. So by the end of it, I can tell you the name of almost every member of every school,
Yeah.
and I love them all.
Yeah, like in Yoa Pedal, they had a lot of characters.
Yeah.
But they all get like a backstory at some point.
And I
in
think
this, almost none of them get a backstory.
no, they have. There are certain types of character developments that happen, but they all feel very static. They all feel very like. It's almost like all of these characters are foil characters except for the 2 main characters. And so they never really progress to a point where I want to meet anyone else, you know?
Right. I think, I mean, there were parts of it I enjoyed. Like, I enjoy the progression of, like, learning techniques and everything. Like, when
Yeah.
we're learning, like, the round off to back handspring. Like, I took gymnastics growing up. So,
Okay.
like, I remember, like, oh, cool, you're learning how to do a round. Like, well, I never had to learn how that was one unrealistic thing, is they made a round off look so difficult.
Attainable? Yeah.
No, well, they made it. It's really not difficult. It's super easy. You could do a round off right now. It's not complicated. It's a glorified cartwheel. Yeah. So like, but I appreciate that they're like learning. Like, oh, here's how you do a round off to back handspring, or round off back handspring back tuck, which
Yeah.
is way more difficult. I could never do that. I could do round off to back handspring and I could do back tucks, but I couldn't do.
I
all
could only
three
do front and back
sequentially.
walkovers. That was literally it.
I could do a
But,
quadruple tuck
No, you can't.
when I'm on my like burritos. When I'm making a burrito,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's delicious.
No, fantastic.
Nice.
But so I appreciated like their learning and growing and stuff like that. Most unrealistic thing ever was that the big boy could do a back handspring. I'm like, buddy, you're not pulling that
Your
off.
elbow joints would break like toothpicks.
There's
I
no
don't-
way
I
you're
don't-
doing that.
So I will agree and disagree in the sense that if they had a year
Yeah,
to do
but they
everything
had a
that they were
month.
doing, I could totally see big guy managing to, because I've seen dudes his relative weight
Yeah.
do hip hop dancing. I've seen break dancing, but these are people who just happen to be bigger set,
Right.
but have the muscles underneath.
But he
this
has
boy
no
couldn't
training
even
whatsoever.
run like a half a mile after the first episode, but in 2 months he has to be able to do back handsprings.
Shit, he's on HGH.
He's all juiced
But
up.
no, but I do
Yes.
I liked the progression of their skill. You're right. Like
Yeah.
watching them learn these new tricks, getting help from where they could. And it was, and I think I told you this earlier, one of the best things I can say about this anime is that it's charming.
Is it?
It's charming.
Is it really?
There isn't much to it, but it's
it's a very simple anime.
it is. This is like a Hallmark TV anime.
So when I was watching this, I kept thinking that the audience for this anime is like what they're probably aiming for is like little girls. Like I'm talking prepubescent girls, and
That
now,
just
of course,
think the boys are pretty and think that cheerleading is fun
Yeah,
and
like
it's all
there's-
nice and colorful and shiny.
Exactly. Now just saying that that's what they're aiming for doesn't mean that that's the only people that are going to watch it. Anybody can watch it, and if you enjoy it, that's
I think
perfectly fine. But I think that the audience they're aiming for is someone who is just a young kid, a young girl specifically, that just likes pretty boys and like, ooh, they're jumping up in the air, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's all there is.
I think it's a Fujoshi anime.
I don't
And
think
I
it's
ju-
Fujoshi
I just-
enough.
I just think they're bad at it.
That's exactly it. It's like they tried to be Fujoshi and instead just
Because it's like all these pretty boys, and a lot of them have some of them have really close relationships. And it's like, you can see how they're trying to insert that.
But they weren't sexualized enough for me to be considered Fujiyoshi.
yeah.
This
Isn't like
Fujosh.
I'm trying to think of something that's not Yuri on Ice, because Yuri on Ice doesn't technically qualify. Like it's Fujoshi bait, but like they're actually in a relationship.
I did also like.
I guess Haikyuu.
Free.
Kinda. Oh, free, perfect. This isn't like Free, where like there are literally moments where you've got a kabudan happening between two of the characters.
What now?
Where one character like puts their hands on either side of his head against the wall.
Oh Jesus, yeah.
Like that's like hardcore Fujoshi bait, and this just
about
these are just boys doing cheer.
Every sports anime in the last 5 years.
Basically, probably.
I do love how
Except Baby Steps.
The big boy was the only one who had a girlfriend, and everybody was like, everybody was like, what?
Yeah,
like how do you?
I don't remember that.
Yeah,
that must have been when I fell asleep for the 9th time.
That's understandable.
Hilarious. Everybody freaked out. They were like, wait, what? You have a girlfriend?
I think my biggest issue with this anime is that I was expecting two things more than anything. I was expecting the characters to be likable, which in the first 2 episodes, I was like, all right, I'm kind of interested in these characters. They seem all right. They seem charming. But then you start accumulating more and more and more characters, and you start losing development for the originals.
The one I did like was, and I don't know how you felt, but the guy who would always say quotes.
He was so tropey, though.
He was hilarious.
He was so good.
But it was so bad. That was why, because like he would just. Do you know what I'm talking about, right, Mitsuki?
Of course I do.
So, unfortunately, he reminded me of a character from an anime that Mitsuki will remember I still have nightmares about called Sket Dance.
Oh.
Okay.
So I couldn't get into him as a character, but by the end of it, I warmed up to him a little bit more. But in the beginning, I was like, oh no.
He was honestly probably the only good thing about the show. Like whenever he would say something, I would laugh and I'd be like, oh, okay, that's funny.
I actually really liked the, and I'm biased, I know I am, because I liked the character's best friend. I can't remember his name and I'm not seeing it on my Kazuma. But yeah, the blue-haired dude. He's voiced by one of my favorite voice actors.
In Japanese?
The Aseu in Japanese. So like, I automatically end up loving like all of the characters this guy ever does, and I know it's completely psychosomatic, and I'm biased.
I'm surprised you can like tell differences between Japanese voice actors. I can't.
I don't know. I like.
It just sounds like
you
a
watch
Japanese
more
guy.
dub than I do now.
Yeah,
I watched half of this dubbed, and it was not good.
The dub was unfortunate.
I'll tell you, if you watch it in double speed, it's not bad.
Dubbed in double speed? What do they all sound like chipmunks?
Oh yeah, but you get through it quicker.
Worth it. Yeah,
it's less painful.
And maybe that's the difference is your character that you liked in the dub versus in Japanese.
Speed, so he was a little quicker.
He's reading like idioms in Japanese, but I don't know what he's saying in the English dub.
In English he's like reading like famous quotes and things like that as well. So
okay.
Yeah.
So my biggest thing with this anime was that I didn't give 2 shits about anybody in it.
Kinda.
You didn't care about his sister who went through the slump and wasn't doing well in Judo?
Nope, she was kind of a bitch. And they didn't give me anything at the end. Like
that's one of my biggest issues with it was the ending.
They skipped the tryout.
But it's the journey that matters.
They rushed it so much at the end. They spent the whole time with them like being not confident in themselves and fighting and bickering, and then they got to episode like 11 and they did the tryout where they had to get 80 points, and then they didn't even show it.
Oh,
right?
that's I was kind of upset that they didn't really they montaged. And then we didn't get any like major. It was almost like they realized they were at the end of the season and needed to have some sort of.
You gotta wait for season 2, bro. It's gonna be great.
There will not.
But there's a
one.
difference between waiting for a kiss in Yuri on Ice and waiting for like an entire, competition result.
Right. True.
And then at the end they showed some stuff, but they kept filling it with like bullshit monologues from the characters and like flashback clips, which totally ruined their routine. And I waited the whole show to see the stupid competition at the end.
Right.
And I get it. It's not about the competition. It's about the journey. But like, I wanted to see the damn competition.
But it's still like, and I'm going to relate this again to Haikyuu because I always do, and this is also a sports anime technically. Mm-hmm. That would be like getting to the end of...
Cheerleading is more of a sport than NASCAR, that's for sure. Let's be real.
Before we get on that, that would be like going to the end of a season of Haikyuu where they have been, like season 3 against Shida Torizawa. The entire thing is one match. Mm-hmm. That would be like getting to the end of it, and instead of showing who won, they just go about an entire final episode fundraising for their next their next match, and we don't know whether or not they won or they lost, if their next match is nationals or if their next match is the fall tournament or something.
Well,
like
Haikyuu has balls. There are winners and there are losers in sports. Boo hoo. Not
I
everybody
thought you
gets
meant literally they have balls because it's a game of.
not everybody.
They've got volleyballs.
Yeah.
Not everybody gets a participation trophy. You either win or you lose.
Well, you win or lose in cheerleading.
Yeah, so I wanted to see them win or lose. If they lose, that's fine. Like they lost in big windup.
I just wanted to see more physical cheer.
If they win, that would be ridiculous. They've only been practicing for like a couple months.
No,
it takes years to learn this stuff.
I wanted to see them lose.
Yeah.
I wanted to see some form of literal emotional impact on these characters that was more than secondhand embarrassment and personal emotional conflict.
I wanted to see them throw one of them up in the air and then just like step back and let him hit the ground.
Have it be the one who's afraid of heights,
I
never cheers
I
again.
See him break his tailbone.
Make it real.
No, but
realistic.
like we saw that one routine in episode 5, I think. Sorry, I guess it's a little bit of a spoiler, but like this whole show doesn't feel like it's worth saying anything about spoilers.
Spoilers, they do a routine.
There's no reason to watch this show ever.
Well,
for anybody. No,
I won't.
Nothing.
No, I will say
do you
if
like cheerleading?
if you like cheerleading, if you want to watch something that's relatively mindless and just kind of pretty.
Yeah.
Like this anime isn't the worst anime I've ever seen. I wasn't ripping my hair out trying to get through it. I was just disappointed by 90% of what I watched.
I'm eating my hat right now.
Okay.
That's his response to Cheer Danshi is to eat a hat.
If you like cheerleading, chances are you're talking about where you have 70% women and then 30% men to help support a lot of the jumps and stuff.
Bring It On.
What is that?
The movie Bring It On.
Bring It On.
What
With
is
Kristen
that?
Dunst. It's a cheerleading movie.
But
I wanted Bring It On, the anime.
Are there
That would
girls
be
in their cheer
awesome.
squad?
Yeah, of course.
So most people that are fans of cheerleading expect women, and if you're a dude, you probably want to look at them in skirts and all this.
Yeah.
That's what cheerleaders are.
I
right?
was reading some reviews, and that was one thing that a lot of people, they said if it was Cheer Joshi, they probably would have watched it more.
There you go.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's Cheer Danshi. It's all boys. They're not. I'm eating my hat.
The best thing this anime could have possibly done was up the Fujoshi bait.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
Just
Make
make
them
it a little bit more. Or
Chippendale dancers.
Have their balls slip
Go
out of
the
their
full
shorts every now and
Monty.
then. Wait, what? Who said that?
and like I hate to be that person who's like sexualize it more and they'll like it because it's not about that. Just make the characters. Well, Fujoshi will find reason to ship characters if they have enough of a personality and attitude and a character development to merit wanting the characters to be together.
Right.
But it couldn't even manage to do that. I didn't care anything about the characters
Yeah, I
or
wanted
their
them all to-
relationships with each other.
Plus, I mean, not very many of them were likable. My favorite guy was the guy that had the blonde pompadour. He looked like Onizuka.
Yeah.
from Shonen Junai Gumi. He looked like like a young Onizuka.
Yeah. One thing I don't
Most of
like,
them were
and they do it
annoying.
all the time in like Fujoshi shows, is that all of the boys are just giant pussies. Like whenever there's any conflict, nobody ever.
You can't say that.
Huh?
You can't say that.
Why can't I say that?
You're gonna get ripped for saying that.
Wait, why can't I say that?
We've been ripped before.
Wait, what did you say
Wait,
that I
yeah.
missed that you weren't allowed to say?
That I don't like that all the boys in these shows are just like major sissies and like they
That's
like
not what you said.
What? Oh, that they're giant pussies?
Yeah, that's what you
I
said.
guess maybe that is. What, is that a
I
bad
get
word
what
to
you're talking
use?
Here it
about.
comes. The hate is coming.
Okay, is that a word I'm not allowed to use anymore?
Yes, it is.
Add it to the list. Can't use this one either.
No, I'm of the opinion that a word only
I don't
has major
mean- yeah.
like derogatory bias if you mean it to have major derogatory
Sure.
bias.
Yeah, like I'm not.
I agree. I'm with you.
Yeah, like I don't have anything against vaginas. I love vaginas.
I
I
mean,
don't understand why. Using
and like
I
I'm
don't mean
gay,
it like that.
but I feel like
I would
if
never
I go,
say.
faggot. But
I would
I'm
never
gay.
say that though. That because that's an
I
effect
don't
that
know.
hurts people's feelings. But like, just anyways. All right, fine, whatever.
How did we get here?
Because I used the word pussy and I guess that's offensive. All right, my bad. The boys are
wimpy, wimpy,
Well,
wimp,
wimpy.
well, I
wimps.
Is
called
wimpy
it-
a good word?
Wimpy,
Can I use
wimpy,
that?
wimpy.
Or am I not allowed to?
I was
Hefty,
just
hefty,
commenting
hefty.
because I've referred to the same types of characters as little bitches,
Okay.
and that was a no.
So am I not allowed to say anything mean about people anymore? Is that?
Okay, let's move on.
But no, the point I'm trying to make is that what I don't appreciate is that in a lot of these shows, like whenever there's a conflict between two characters,
this is all my fault.
Whenever-
It's all my fault.
whenever there's a conflict between two listeners, like especially males, you know, in general in real life, and it gets to an aggressive point, then they'll end up fighting physically in some way or another. But in all of these shows, they take these college-age boys who are full of testosterone and aggression, and they have a conflict with one another where they're yelling at each other, and then nothing happens.
That might be Japanese mentality, though.
It could be.
It totally is.
It could be. Yeah, I don't know enough about Japanese.
Very harmonious. Maintain harmony.
Yeah, but like, cause like the two guys, the one
Very Confucian.
the one very like loosey goosey guy who was like about having fun and always late, and then the other guy who was very strict. Like they would get into these heated fights, and then like nothing would happen. And I'm like,
there's no payout.
yeah, and it's just it's unrealistic to me. But again, maybe that's how Japanese people are. I don't know.
All right, I'm done talking about this.
I think I'm pretty solid on it too.
I thought this anime was a big disappointment. They spent most of the show having dialogue between characters. The pacing was atrocious. I mean,
It was pretty bad.
almost nothing happened, and most of the show was these conversations between these characters that I didn't care about. And then at the end, when I wanted to see their competition, finally, they didn't show it to me. So I really hated the show. I'm going to give it a 1.5. Boys, I wish they would have dropped out of 5.
Ooh, that's
Because it sucks.
yeah. I guess I'll go next.
And that's the lowest
Sure.
score I've
I'll
given
save
in a
you for
long
last
time.
since
It
it's
is.
your show. So I don't think the show was terrible. I just think it's not for us or for any adult or if you're looking for anything deep at all, this is not the
It's
show
for
you.
nobody.
It's for little kids. It's for little girls. That's exactly what the show is for.
No, it's for Fujoshis. They just sucked at doing it.
No, it wasn't for Fujoshi.
Yes, it
If it was
was.
for look, it could have been if they would have just had some literally any sexuality in the show. There was
Every
none at
sports
all.
anime with mostly boys is a Fujoshi show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're saying Yowamushi Pedal is a Fujiyoshi
Yes,
show?
it is. Absolutely. Are you kidding?
There's stuff out there.
Oh my god, dude, 100%.
Okay, I guess if you say so.
Yes, it is.
Is Dragon Ball Z a Fujoshi show? 'Cause
That's
it's a
not a
bunch of
sports
guys.
anime,
Oh, okay. Well, but it's a bunch of guys.
but it's not a sports anime, and it didn't come out in the last few
I guess.
years.
All right. So all right.
So what do you score it?
Gosh, I don't know.
Oh, for God's sake.
What?
Go fight the Uin!
I don't know. I'll give it like a 2. It was like, yeah, it is not good.
Okay,
Oh, God.
I'm gonna agree. This isn't the worst thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Mostly, what it did was disappoint me. I expected more. I wanted more. It towed the line of giving me what I wanted multiple times, only to disappoint me again and again and again. That being said, I feel like I want to give it credit just for the relatively original concept, for having it be college based, for I'm trying to think of good things. Just too much disappointment for me, man. Like I wanted to give it a 2.5. I wanted to find a reason to give it a 2.5, but I can't.
Yeah.
So
Well-
I'm gonna give it a 2 as well.
I want you to know that if you just can't get enough Cheer Danshi, and you need more, there are 2
fantastic.
OVA episodes.
Oh,
TV
perfect.
specials
Maybe
that you
one
can
of them's
watch.
the actual competition routine.
Yeah, maybe. So. Oh, and there's a sequel coming out next season. Just kidding.
Oh, I was gonna. My brain shut off for a second when you said that.
There honestly might be, but I am generally unaware of that.
Awesome. Well,
Well, there we go.
All right, so
Sorry, guys.
a 1.5
Stop me next time if you think it's going to be an awful anime. Don't let me pass it.
A 1.5, a 2, and a 2 ends up being a 2, which honestly I'm fine with that.
yeah.